All right, 3 wickets, Saba, Karim for Kuldeep Yadav, just when India needed them. Take us through what worked for him today.
He really had to work hard for these wickets, Ronak, and he did his best. Even in the first session, we saw that. Kuldeep Yadav has been India's most improved spin bowler over the past maybe a season and a half. And you can see the reason behind it. He really worked very hard over his bowling. His variations have become far more deceptive. He's using different angles. There is speed in the way he releases the ball. That is why it's not easy for batters to pick him from the hand. And I think he works on these deceptions. And I think he's also very adept at understanding what the batter is trying to do. And I think that combination with Rishabh Pant works very well for him. So these subtle nuances of how to pick wickets, how to understand the batter's movement or the batter's mindset, all that has helped him to grow in confidence. And we see that reflect in his performance.
To probe that further, on our last show, we were talking of how well Tristan Stubbs seems to be playing him, reading him. They play for the same franchise and all that. And the wicket of Stubbs, who was well set, he's just pushed one across. Just take us through the skill there of a batter who until then was playing him quite nicely.
Yeah, I think one mistake which Tristan Stubbs had to do was against Kuldeep Yadav, especially on that delivery. The one he was not able to read. He felt that the ball will come into the right-hand batter, but this was the wrong one from Kuldeep Yadav with a lot of zip, and he actually lured Tristan Stubbs to play that shot. And I think that is where Kuldeep Yadav has that edge over most of these foreign batters. You'll try and decipher him as much as possible, but he always has something up his sleeve to upset the batter, and that's what happened in the case of Tristan Stubbs. Very subtle changes in his bowling style or in his variation. And all that worked very well for Kuldeep today.
Yeah, smart catch from KL Rahul as well. But let's get the bowler in on this as well, Vernon. A couple of those wickets, especially Rickleton right after the first break, the tea break. And Vian Mulder looked filthy for having almost given it away. Now, that's the impression we get looking at the pictures. But why don't you take us through how much of a part the bowlers played in that?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful, opportunity when you look at these breaks. I think I always, sense that there's an opportunity, to get it better because he has to start out again. And I think Rickleton, having played so well before that tea break, obviously was highly upset, with himself. And I think it's perhaps just the kind of shot that he attempted at the time. I think, just trying to open the blade, almost trying to run it down to third man kind of thing. And then obviously a feint. It's still a good catch, but at the end of the day, you work so hard to get yourself in. And I think the last thing you want to do is give your wicket away in that kind of fashion. I think many will sum it up perhaps as a soft dismissal, but again, I'm going to illustrate the point that, you work hard, and as a bowler, sometimes, you have to come back third, fourth spells. But at the end of the day, when you've done all that hard work, the game will and certainly does reward you from time to time. But I just feel, this test match, perhaps the surface, given the surface, I think we've got a good surface here. So all skills are on display. And just a little bit on the Tristan Stubbs dismissal, I think it's a wonderful piece of bowling by Kuldeep Yadav. Reason being, because Tristan Stubbs could pick him. So he's gone slow through the air and really set him up for a couple of overs to bowl that quicker slider. So again, there's, just so many ways and methods, to really, that you can, target a particular batter. So smart bowling. But again, I think, the bowlers are going to be put to the test on this particular surface. And for once, they're going to have to work a little bit harder in order to gain, the credits of picking up wickets.
Yeah, at that point Vernon makes, that in the last test, it seemed like Kuldeep Yadav was not having the impact that Jadeja was, that Simon Hammer was. But when you have a good surface, that's when we are talking more of the skill of Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah, absolutely right, Ronak. In fact, I had a chat with Kuldeep Yadav at the Eden Gardens, and he made it very clear that on that kind of a surface, for him to bowl with speeds of 90 plus is not easy. And that's the kind of Eden Garden was on the slower side, so you needed bowlers who can pitch the ball at the right area with the requisite pace. And I think Kuldeep Yadav to a large extent was unable to do so. And this is an ideal surface for him because it offers him that bounce, and so he can use his variations to great effect. So that's the difference. I think from India's perspective, it's also equally important to understand the strength and weaknesses of your bowlers, especially of your spinners, when to use them, how to use them, and against whom to use them. But I think overall, these are great conditions for Kuldeep Yadav, and I'm sure tomorrow also in the first half, Kuldeep Yadav will be tough to negotiate.
All right, well, Kuldeep Yadav, 3 wickets for him, and he'll be hungry for more tomorrow. But for his performance on day one, he's our Bajaj Finserv Mutual Fund's Bankable Player of the Day.